Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about 8 things that I'm going to be doing differently with baby number 3. If there are any others that I can think of or that come to mind, it means that I'm still thinking them through. But these were like 8 things that I was like, yes, 100%, I'm going to change them. And I honestly, as soon as I found out I was pregnant, started making this list, like not even actually realizing that I was going to do this YouTube channel and everything. So it was just things that I had in the back of my mind that I thought, okay, that is something that I want to think about a little bit more. I've taken my time thinking about them. I've come up with lots of different solutions, different ideas. And right now I'm 25 weeks pregnant, almost 26. And I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, yeah, I feel pretty confident that I'm going to be doing these things differently. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jacqueline and I'm going to get straight into it because I feel like as soon as I start talking it's going to get out of hand. I've put like the biggest thing at the end of the list, so I'm going to talk about that last because that is definitely a very, very different thing that I'm going to be doing. But first on the list is I'm going to be using different dummies, and I talked about this in my like newborn essentials video, like items that I used with my other 2 kids as well. Sorry about that, that was Lexi. Yeah, I am going to still be using dummies, but I was actually thinking about trying without dummies, but if I see how it soothes them, I'm definitely not going to be trying them as quickly as I did with my other 2, but I'm definitely still going to use them because it's a big help. I remember with Matteo, we were like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to try that. And then you get to the point where it's like, you need that dummy. So I am going to be using different dummies. With my last 2, used the bibs dummies, and I mean, everyone knows the bibs dummies. But what ends up happening is that their teeth, when they're older, their teeth just get really, really deformed. And I also feel like they get attached to it a lot more because the dummy itself is a lot bigger and thicker, and when it's in their mouth, it's like, it's not, how do I put this into words? They just get very, very attached to it. And I've heard this from other moms using different kinds of dummies, and that they had a way better time taking the dummy away, because Matteo is 4 years old and he's only like literally this last week started sleeping without dummies. During the day, he didn't have a dummy for like quite a while already. At night, it was like you could hear him sucking on his dummy from the other room. That's how bad it was. So it's something that we had to like really slowly, gradually build up. And now he doesn't have a dummy at all anymore. But I still feel like 4 years old is still like, I would have liked it to have been sooner. Like now we're also really trying with Maya. Maya is turning 3 next month in September. We are starting to see those same signs of like constantly wanting it and seeing it as a form of comfort, and we're starting to see those same like bad habits that we saw with Matteo. So we kind of want to nip it into the bud earlier with her than we did with Matteo, but obviously Matteo was our first. Like every experience with Matteo is our first experience, you know. So yeah, I want to try a different dummy. My sister-in-law, so my brother's girlfriend, she told me about, so the ones that I put in that video where I talked about the Diffrax ones, but she also told me about the Philips ones. Those are also really good. And I've been doing a little bit more reading online, and there were a lot of good reviews on the Philips ones as well. It's just like the dummy itself, definitely like 100% going for the glow in the dark one, no matter what brand it is or what it is. But it's just, yeah, it's just that dummy part, the part that they suck on, you know, that's really, really important. That it's, one, not silicone, because I'm aware that gets absolutely disgusting and starts to smell. And just so that it's not so big in their mouth that it doesn't, you know, affect their teeth, and that they don't get so attached to it. So yeah, that is definitely something that I want to keep at, because I had the Diffrax dummies with Maya, but I gave up on them because we tried the bibs ones and they do prefer the bibs ones, yes, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it when you look at it at the age that they are at now. So that's obviously something that you learn, later on. But if you are a first-time mom, I hope that this does help. But yeah, I just wouldn't go down that route. At least with my kids, they just got a little bit too attached to those other ones. So I'm going to be trying different dummies. I'm going to get both the Philips ones and the Diffrex ones, but I'm never going to buy. I know there's also ones from Friggs or something like that. They also just look exactly like the bibs ones, just like the silicone. Yeah, it's just like the sucking part is so incredibly big. It's just not good for their teeth, and they just get addicted to it. So that's the one thing the first thing that came to mind, honestly. I kind of did write these down in order of like through my pregnancy, because I've had this list for quite a while. The next on the list is a lot more skin to skin. So with Maya and Mateo, with Mateo, obviously I was a first time mom, so you kind of listen to everyone a little bit more. And with Maya, like they're only 15 months apart. So I still feel like I was still a fairly new mom. Also in between there, I had a little bit of an issue with my thyroid gland that I have to take medication for the rest of my life now. I went through a very like low energy, like Mitch had to do everything with Mateo. Literally, I think a month after that, I also found out that I was pregnant. So yeah, a lot of things were just happening. I didn't really feel like I experienced motherhood like properly. Also with Mateo, after my birth, the birth itself was fine, like no issues, but I had a really bad reaction to the epidural. So for 2 weeks, I had to lie completely flat, which really, really sucked. I really did not get to enjoy those first 2 weeks. And I feel like the first 2 weeks, like so much happens as well. It's just, yeah, it had an effect on my milk. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it. With Maya, I definitely enjoyed it a little bit more. But Maya, honestly, after about 2 to 3 weeks, I felt like she wasn't a newborn anymore. She was just so energetic. Her wake moments were so long, like so early. So yeah, I didn't really feel like I had a newborn for very long then. So yeah, I want to do more skin to skin. I want to enjoy the newborn phase a lot more, because this is going to be our last baby. I mean, honestly, I never want to say never, because you never know what life is going to throw at you. But where we're at right now in our life, yes, this is our last baby. So I just want to soak up that newborn bubble, and just enjoy skin to skin, hold her a lot more, because we've all heard other people say it when you're a new mom, or I mean, I even did it with Maya, just not holding them enough, and people saying, oh, make sure you don't hold them enough because they're going to hold them too much, because then they'll get used to it and all that. No, okay, don't listen to those people, okay, because you hold your baby as long as you want. They do not realize, I mean, this is also something that I've learned, obviously, and once you get into like that motherhood algorithm, I feel like on Instagram, you see a lot more of like these articles, and you hear a lot more from other mothers and their experience. So it's definitely something I've just learned along the way. But there is no such thing as holding your newborn too much. Like, there's not. They do not realize that they are separate from you for the first 9 months of their life. I've read different articles that say 6 months. Some say 6 months, some say 9 months. I'm just going to keep it to the 9 month mark because it makes sense. Like, they've been in your stomach for 9 months. That's normal. Like, it's normal that they do not realize that they are separate from you, With Mateo, God, I laid him in like the nest and the cot way too many times. I didn't hold him enough. I really, really did not. Same with Maya, to be fair. I mean, she was a wiggle worm big time, so that also did contribute to that. But I didn't hold her enough. I didn't soak up that newborn phase and bubble enough, because it goes by so incredibly fast. It's honestly like that, and it just goes by so fast. It really, really does. So I just want to immerse myself in that newborn bubble a lot more than what I did with my other two, and really, really enjoy it. Next is kind of linked to the last one I talked about. So I wrote down baby carrying. So this is going to be a different situation. Like, she is going to be a autumn winter newborn, whereas with Mateo and Maya, they were summer babies, you know, so they didn't have to wear so many layers. I did not. Like, I had carriers, like baby carriers for both of them, but I didn't use them because it was just so hot and I was just sweating all of the time. I couldn't. Also, like, when you're breastfeeding with the combination with sweat, it doesn't, it's just awful, okay? It's awful. If you know, you know, but I really want to do more baby carrying, and I think I'm going to be doing that anyway because I also have 2 other kids that, you know, I can't, my kids are going to be going to school, you know, I'm not going to be able to sit on the couch or lie in bed all day, you know, so, and especially if I want to do that skin to skin a lot more and hold baby a lot more, I'm definitely going to carry, you know, like in a baby carrier, do that a lot more. I've put like a different one on my registry that I've not tried yet, but I've heard really good things about, because the last 2 that I had were with like buckles, and it was just an ordeal to put it on, and I just want something easy. Yeah, baby carrying, I definitely want to do that more. I think I'm going to be doing that more anyway, like naturally, because I'm gonna need my hands free to do other stuff, you know. So I'm definitely happy that she's an autumn winter baby, because it means that I'm still going to sweat, obviously, but it's not going to be as bad as in the summer, because in the summer it honestly just, I couldn't, like I felt uncomfortable. And obviously if you feel uncomfortable, your baby will feel that, you know. So yeah, I'm just very, very happy about that. Next up, I've also talked about this in previous videos, but the zipper onesies with feet. Now, this also links in with the fact that she's going to be an autumn winter newborn, but nonetheless, those teeny tiny little socks, they just fall off all of the time. And fair enough, the ones with the feet, you do have to get the sizing right, because as soon as they are too long, it just doesn't, and they don't fit in anymore, you can't like squish them in there, you know. Whereas if you don't have feet, you got a little bit more wiggle room, you know. But you can always just cut the feet off as well. You can do that as well. So yeah, I've bought onesies with zippers that open at the top and at the bottom. They're a little bit like thicker, and you know, I've also kept into consideration that she is going to need to wear more layers. It is going to be a different experience for me. It's not going to be like Maya and Mateo that hardly had any layers on most of the time. So it is going to be different for me. But yeah, the zipper, that's also advice that I've taken from other moms. Just like the zipper onesies are a game changer. They really, really are, because you can sometimes go for like 5 different outfits in a day. Like, it really does depend on your day. Usually it's about 2 to 3. That's usually from my experience with Maya and Mateo. But sometimes it can be more, you know, that's normal. They have blowouts, sometimes the nappy's not on right, and, you know, the pee is everywhere, or sometimes they spit up. And I mean, I never, with Maya or Mateo, if they spit up once, unless it was obviously very, very bad, I wouldn't change it. I would just wipe it off, because I know that later on, the next time I breastfeed, they'll just spit up again. Like, it will just happen again. And if you change their clothes every single time, oh my word, you're going to be doing washing every day. I mean, I'm going to be doing washing every day anyway, because I have 2 other kids. That's normal. I do a load of washing every second day. Sometimes I can pull it to every 3 days. In the summer, it's every 3 days, because they mostly run around naked. So that is the nice thing. But in autumn and winter, oh my word. We've actually recently bought a dryer, knowing that, okay, we're gonna need it. Like, and it's already changed the game for washing with me. Like, such a difference. If you don't have a dryer, I highly, highly recommend. Because sometimes I can do washing every single day, because I obviously have to wait for the clothes to dry, you know? Anyway, tangent over. But yeah, those onesies with the zipper and the feet. Before, everyone always said don't get the onesies with the feet, but now I'm kind of like, well, I can just cut off the feet. The zippers, I did do the zippers a lot more with Maya when I could find them. The ones that I found now that I've already spoken about in Next, the store Next, I think it's a UK store, but I can order here in Belgium as well. They've got them. They've got the sets. Highly recommend. I think H&M has also got them, but not as many options. But that's usually my go-to is H&M and Next now. Like I have actually another order of clothes for her that is coming from Next because they were on sale and I didn't want to lose them. But yeah, I'm going to be doing more layers, so I have to think about this a little bit more than I did with my other two. But yeah, that is something that I'm going to be doing differently. Then breastfeed for as long as possible. I feel like with Maya and Matteo, I breastfed up until 5 months and I was kind of forced to stop because of the thyroid issue that I had. Plus, I also found out that I was pregnant. And honestly, within the space of a week, my milk went to almost nothing. So I would have liked to have breastfed longer with Matteo because Matteo was really, really nice to breastfeed. Like he was such a chill baby, but he was also a really good eater. So I suppose it didn't really bother me, but I would have liked to have done it for longer. With Maya, I only breastfed for 3 months and I stopped because I'm not joking she was a wiggle worm. Like honestly, she would not lie still. She was always fussy, and because she never lay still, the latch was also never good. Like it was just always a drama, and I just started not enjoying the breastfeeding. And I still had like a good supply in the freezer, so I was still able to, for like a little bit longer. I was honestly relieved with Maya that I stopped breastfeeding because I didn't enjoy it. And honestly, it is really just seeing how your baby is day by day. Every baby is different. Maybe Luna will also be that. I mean, she's very active in my stomach, so maybe she'll also be like that, or maybe as soon as I give birth, she might not be. I don't know, like you don't know. She could be more active because I'm uncomfortable now and because of the heat waves that we've had and the heavy work that I have to do. It could be that. It could be as soon as I'm off work that she slows down. I don't know. You never really know. But I would really like to breastfeed for as long as possible. I'm also going to be trying I've put this on my registry. I want to try a different breast pump, like the one that you can literally just put in your bra and you can walk around. There's no wires or anything like that. I don't really have a game plan with the breastfeeding. It literally is just see how it goes. I'm hoping that my milk comes in a little bit faster this time, because the last time I gave birth with both of Maya and Matteo in the middle of a heat wave, and that slowed down my milk. Like it took a while for it to come in. With Maya, to the point that we actually had to give her formula, which I really didn't like. But yeah, it just, it happens. You don't have any control over that. So I'm hoping now that temperatures are going to be okay and I'm not going to be dying in a hospital room, because it honestly was like, it was suffocating in there, that, I'm a lot more relaxed and my milk comes in faster. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I would like to pump, maybe not straight away, but I would like to use that specific breast pump because I've also heard great things about it. You can get them from lots of different brands. I've put the one on my registry from Medela because those are the previous breast pumps that I've used and I really like them. They got a good reviews. A lot of people use them here in Belgium, but there's so many out there. But yeah, I do have that in my mind, to just not stick it out for as long as possible. Like I want to still enjoy it, but I do want to try to breastfeed for longer, because I do really enjoy that moment, because I want to be more intimate, like skin to skin, and be in that newborn bubble. I just want to enjoy that as well, like a little bit more than I did before. Next up, I've also talked about this, the multifunctional travel cot. It's not really going to be used for traveling because it's just going to be out all of the time. We're going to be using it as kind of like a cot down here, but it's just like the perfect size. It's multifunctional. So yeah, it's one that comes open. It's basically like a travel cot, but this one, it's got 2 levels. So the bottom, and you can also do 1 level higher, which I really liked. That was like a must. Looking this up and researching this, I found that you can get like multifunctional ones that have a changing table on there, that have a mobile on there, that's like some even had like nets over it and everything, like a dome. And I'm not really going to do that. Like if I want a dome on there or something, I can do that myself. Like I don't need to get one of those fancy ones. But yeah, we actually ages ago brought down this changing table that I was going to use in the corner here, but we're going to move that back upstairs into the bathroom because it's a lot more practical up there. Yeah, so that is going to be going back upstairs, and I just really like the idea of having something multifunctional like that. Plus, once I've finished using the changing table, and because obviously it's to a certain weight, I think it's to about 10 kilos, that changing table on there. It's not as sturdy. But at that point, I feel like I will be comfortable enough to change her on a changing mat, on the couch, whatever. It's just like, especially in the beginning when they're so small and then the newborn phase, I just want her to be somewhere that I can change her and the kids are not going to, you know, jump on her, or you know what I mean? It also comes with like these pockets on the sides. It also comes with a mobile, which is really nice, not like an absolute must, but the fact that it's like all in one and that you can raise it up so I can also put her in there and know that she's safe in there, instead of putting her in like a nest and putting her in the couch here. If my kids are running around, like, they can sometimes go crazy and like jump on the couch and, you know, and be in a frantic state or whatever and accidentally fall on her, or you know what I mean? Like, those things can happen when you've got two toddlers running around, especially with, like, they are still quite young. Like, they'll be 3 and 4. It's still quite small, you know? So I feel like Matteo understands it a little bit more, but Maya can also rile him up to no end. So I'll just know that she's safe in there. She can sleep in there comfortably. I can put her in there when I need to do something and not constantly have to look at the couch, at the baby nest, because still, it's not like a 100% safe environment, even if I was on my own. It's just, that does give me peace of mind. Also knowing that it's not going to take up a huge amount of space. And I'm also going to have a rocking chair next to it. I suppose that's also something new that I'm going to be doing. I've not put it on the list, but I was looking into it and I found a really, really nice one that actually matches our couch. And I just thought, you know, that's actually really, really practical, because this is a very small couch. This is actually only really like a 2-person couch. So when all 4 of us are sitting in here, the size that I'm at now, I get claustrophobic and I have to like get out of the couch when we're all sitting in here, all 4 of us. So I'm not like, there's no ways I'm going to be breastfeeding or laying down or whatever when everyone else is down here and wanting to sit in the couch, obviously. So I'm also going to be having a rocking chair next to that, like cot situation. So yeah, that is something I'm doing differently, something that I did think about for quite a while. And I'm glad I've come up with that solution. I'm quite excited about that, to be fair. So I do have that on my registry. It's also not something that's super, super expensive. I think the one that I found was 100 euros, which is not bad if you compare it to the like full-on square cots that you can get. Like, those are big. Those take up a lot of room and they're also very bulky, you know? So yeah, I'm very happy about that. I'm very proud that I found that solution. And Mitch is also very, very happy with that, because it's, you know, it's not a giant waste of money, you know, because a lot of like the changing table, you only really use like a year, or the here we call them a park, but yeah, basically like those big square cot things, those you also don't end up using that long. You know, the things like those co-sleeper beds next to your bed, we literally only use that for like 3 months. Thank goodness we borrowed that from someone, because those are also expensive. You know, just thinking of ways to save money, be practical, and make it as easy as possible for us. Another thing I wrote down is asked to go home earlier in the hospital. Not like, what I basically mean when I wrote that down is that I never asked to go home. So with Matteo, I didn't really have a choice. I was there for like 5-6 days because I had to lie flat, and they were also trying different things to get me to, so I wouldn't have to lie flat, you know. It was basically just like the hole where they put the epidural and it was leaking too much, and it was, yeah, it just wasn't it didn't do a very good job. And I had intense migraines, but like intense. I couldn't do anything. I was crying constantly because I was in so much pain. So they did lots of different things. Like, they did blood patches. I had to lie flat for 24 hours. I had to drink like caffeine drinks. It was just an ordeal. They were trying lots of different things. At the end of the day, the best thing that worked was just lying flat for 2 weeks. That's all I could do, really. And you know, he was my first, so I feel I could do that then with my first baby. If I had that with Maya, then there was no ways I would be able to do that. But anyway, so I was there for like 5 to 6 days, but I never asked when can I go home? Same with Maya. I never asked, can I go home, or when can I go home? And it's actually only when I came home with Maya that the midwife that comes like in the first like 2-3 weeks comes every couple of days. It's only until she said, I don't understand why they didn't just let you go home and let me come more, because it was literally just a matter of my milk was not coming in because of the heat wave. Like my body was going through stress anyway, and then the heat on top of it was just too much. So she couldn't like understand why they didn't let me go home and have her watch me, because she was there, she was here every like almost every 2 to 3 days anyway. And they did have to watch Maya's weight because it was going down, and it got to a point where it wasn't allowed to go below that, and it went below that, but honestly not by a lot. And as soon as my milk came in, like they started saying, oh, you need to pump milk, and then I had an infection and everything. It was just a whole thing. It was a whole thing. And I do this time around want to stand up a little bit more for myself and be like, no, okay, I'm going to go home. They can't keep you there. I have a midwife that's going to be coming to my house like frequently, especially the first week. Like the first week, I think she comes like 3 times or something like that. And she weighs babies, she checks on you. Like it's basically all of the same things that they do in the hospital. But you're home, you're comfortable. Because as soon as I got home, like literally the day after my milk came in, it was still hot. We were still going through a heat wave. So that is I'm not going to be like begging, obviously, but it's my 3rd baby. So I do feel a little bit more confident, I think, to ask that. Plus, I'm going to be using the same midwife that I did with Maya and Matteo. So, because with Maya as well, I was there for 5 days. Like I hear people say, oh, they can go home after like 3 days. I'm like, oh my word, that's the dream. Like I want to go home after 3 days and be in the comfort of my own home. Because you're not comfortable in the hospital. Like you don't sleep well. You're just not comfortable. Which actually leads me on to the last thing, which is like the biggest thing, is the sleeping arrangement. So when you're in the hospital, you're uncomfortable anyway. You're going through a lot, you know. With Maya, I had the experience with one midwife that I only saw her once. I think it was because it was beginning of September and I never saw the same midwife or the same nurse twice. It was always someone different, which wasn't, I don't know, that didn't really make me feel comfortable. With Matteo, I had the same midwife the whole time. So yeah, that did make me a little bit uncomfortable, but I had one midwife and I will never ever forget her. And she told me, she said, look, if you want to sleep in the bed with your baby, do it. Do not get forced by other nurses or midwives that she has to sleep in that little, you know, bed that you can roll around. If she wants to lie by you, if she wants to sleep by you, do it. And I did that, and honestly, that was the best nap I ever had. And that has like stuck with me the whole time. And that's why it also started making me think of this when I found out that I was pregnant, is I want to do co-sleeping, but not co-sleeping in the sense of, you know, with a co-sleeper next to your bed. I want to sleep with her in the bed. So what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be buying a bigger mattress. So we have a mattress now that's 160 by 200. We're going to be buying a mattress that's 200 by 200. And next to that mattress, we're going to put her mattress that is going to be in her cot. Because to a certain point, she will not be able to sleep downstairs. I experienced this with Maya and Matteo as well, but for her naps during the day, she's not going to be able to sleep downstairs. It's going to be loud down here. They get to a certain point where they are triggered a lot more by sounds and light and all of that. And eventually they will sleep better in a dark room in a cot on their own during the day. At night, it's a different situation, but I definitely noticed that with Maya and Matteo. So that mattress that's going to be in that cot, we're going to put next to the bed because it's going to be a floor bed. So the mattress is pretty much going to be on the floor. Like literally the frame that it's going to be on is only like this. So it's going to be on the floor. That mattress is going to be there. It's going to be quite a thick mattress. It's going to be the same mattress that we used for Maya that my brother lent to us. Really, really good mattress. Really happy with it. Sorry for the cuts, had to change my battery. So yeah, that's going to be next to our bed. It's basically kind of like an extension of the bed, I guess. But I also then have the option of, if I notice that she doesn't want to, because also when you're breastfeeding, they can also, if they're constantly up against you, they can smell the milk, and it can also make them cluster feed and, you know, become a little bit more fussy. So it honestly is just seeing how she reacts. I never had that with Maya and Matil. The cluster feeding and the whenever they were on me wanting to feed all of the time, I never really had that. So I'm definitely just going to have to see, you know, what she's like. It's every baby's different. Then I will have the option of just like rolling her over and her being safe, like on her own mattress, getting used to that mattress as well. She might be a baby that wants to be swaddled. She might be a baby that doesn't want to be swaddled when she's like up against me and sleeping. But I did the co-sleeping thing for a couple of nights with Matil, and I still remember to this day that those were the best night's sleep that I had, because you don't get up. Like, also the notion of having to change the diaper every single time they feed. I didn't do that with either of my kids. Yeah, they'll wake up in the morning and they'll have a full diaper, but that's okay. Like, you just change it. Unless obviously they poop, that's different, you know? Yeah, you don't need to change their diaper every single time you breastfeed them or you feed them, you know? You don't need to do that. It's just unnecessary waking them up and you waking up then, and you know, you don't need to do that. But then also that way I never have to get out of my bed, because I remember that was something that also near the end of both my breastfeeding journeys just kind of was a trigger for me, and I just didn't end up, I just stopped enjoying it because I had to get up every single time. I would struggle to fall back to sleep. It was irritating. So this way, I feel like I'm also going to be able to breastfeed for much longer, because she can literally like feed whenever she wants to, and I can stay laying down in bed. And again, like that image with Matil always comes to mind, because it was heaven. It was heaven. I don't understand why more people don't do this, but I mean, I know there will still be people that will come at me and, you know, talk about SIDS and all of that. From my experiences and from how my kids have been, I feel confident to give it a try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I won't be mad about it either, you know. It literally is just taking it day by day. But also this way, I feel like I'm going to be a lot closer to her. I'm going to get better sleep. She's going to get better sleep. And I think all in all, it's going to make the newborn phase easier. I mean, it's hard anyway, but I don't know. It's just a gut feeling also. It's a gut feeling. Because if I didn't have a good feeling about it, I would straight away be like, no, we're going back to what we did with Maya, which was she was already in her cot from day one. It was just right next to our bed, and I would just take her out of the bed. I would still feed her a lot of the times in the bed, but I just think it's going to be such like a luxury that's, and also other moms that have done this, that I've spoken to, or that I've followed their stories, have said the exact same thing. Like, they've breastfed for longer, they feel more closer to their baby, they sleep a lot better. Like, the newborn phase was so much easier. A lot of positive things. The way you look at it, like whatever situation your baby sleeps in, they will never be 100% safe. Like, SIDS is a thing. The fact that people say, look, or when they sleep in a cot and they're on their own and there's nothing else in there, the chances are less or something like that. I've this last couple of years read like the complete opposite, you know, read that if they feel like their mom or their dad are not there and they feel like they're on their own, I just feel like from what I've seen other people, other mothers specifically breastfeeding, how they talk about it, how they feel about it, their tips that they've given on it. I mean, obviously they also get a lot of hate, and I will probably also get the same thing, but it's just a gut feeling. That's what it is. It's just a gut feeling. I do also think it's got to do with the fact that it's my third and last baby, and I just want to be I want to be closer to her. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. I feel like I could go on a tangent on the co-sleeping thing on its own, but every single time I hear other mothers talking about it that have done it and that have experienced it, it makes me happy. It warms my heart to hear how they talk about their children and the relationship that they have with their kids. And yeah, I mean, I also noticed that with our kids sleep in our bed a lot. And we definitely have a very, very close relationship with our kids, and they definitely don't have intimacy issues, that's for sure. But yeah, it's just that bond. And when you're sleeping with your child, there's just like there's no feeling like it. And I also feel like times have changed, and maybe in another 50 years, they'll go back to, you know, the whole, oh, your baby's got to sleep in a cot and everything like that. I don't know. Like I said, it's just a feeling. That's all it is just a feeling. And you know what? Maybe she won't like it, and maybe she'll be fussy and she'll sleep better on her own in a cot. That's also okay, you know? I'm just going to see how she's going to react, how it makes her feel, how it makes me feel, and take it from there. That's pretty much it. So those are the 8 things that I wanted to cover. Let me know in the comments if there are any of these things that you have done with your kids, or things that you also want to do with your second or third baby, you know, or fourth, whatever, you know, your next baby. Let me know. I would love to hear your experiences, because I really do like hearing other mothers' experience with all of these different things. Like, not only mothers, but also, I mean, like the co-sleeping and the breastfeeding thing, obviously that is specific to mothers, but just like parents in general. Like, if you have experience with like the dummy thing, or the skin to skin, or the, you know, let me know. I would love to hear that. I love hearing other people's stories. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a hype to help boost it in the algorithm. This is not a very big channel, but it has got a very special place in my heart, because I am talking about something that I'm obviously very passionate about. Like, I wouldn't be pregnant with my third baby if I wasn't passionate about these things, you know? And they are things that I'm constantly thinking about, you know. The hormones just make you constantly think about it. I sometimes have sleepless nights because I'm thinking about all of these things, and it's hard to switch off. It is hard to switch off. And if you're in the same boat, I feel you. I do. I feel you. It can be exhausting, but I guess it's also what keeps us going, you know. Pregnancy is it's not easy, but these things do keep you going. And I am very, very excited about all of these things, and just to see how it goes, because there's going to be new experiences for me. And yeah, just see how it goes. I'm very mellow about it. I'm not like, oh, these things have to happen, you know. I'm not like that at all. Just taking it day by day and getting to know her, because she's going to obviously be, you know, the major factor to if these things work or not. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me this Sunday morning, and I hope to see you next Sunday.